Hey, what is going on guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the ultimate guide to dodging champ select for Season 9. So to start it off here, let's just go over the basics of dodging. What does dodging do? So basically, whenever you dodge, you're going to lose 3 LP on the first dodge. Now within 16 hours, that dodge is going to reset, and then you can dodge again to lose 3 LP. But if you dodge another time within 16 hours, then you're going to lose 10 LP on the second dodge. Now I'm not too sure if this was changed or if it's like a bug in the system, but recently when I've been dodging and I've used a 10 LP dodge, I've only been put on a 6-minute timer. Now I know in the past that it's supposed to be a 30-minute timer for your second dodge, but I've only had 6-minute dodges recently when I've lost 10 LP, which is definitely very interesting. I'm not too sure if they did end up changing that, but I did do some research on it and it doesn't look like there's any information or there's any announcement that they changed that. So let me know down below guys if you are also only getting a 6-minute timer for a 10 LP dodge. And the main reason to why you do want to look to dodge often is because it does save you from playing out low percent chance games, and it also does not lose you any MMR. So if your main goal is to climb throughout this season and you're not a player that just plays a few games a season, if you're playing tons of games each season, then dodging to save your MMR is a very, very good strategy. Alright, so if we get into the tips now, the first tip here is going to be do not dodge when you're at 3 LP or less. You're going to lose 3 LP from your first dodge of the day, so there's really no point in dodging when you're at 3 LP, because if you do this, then you're gonna drop down to 0 LP, and then on your next game, you're gonna risk demotion. Now, if you don't dodge that game when you're at 3 LP, then you can play it out, see if you win. Even if it's a low percent chance game, you still have a chance to win, so you almost always just wanna play out games when you're at 3 LP or less, because it does give you at least 2 chances to avoid demotion. So for number 2 here, assume that you lose 18 LP per loss. If you're at an LP amount that's under 18 LP, then you should be looking to dodge a lot in these situations. You're gonna drop to 0 LP if you lose your next game, so by dodging, you're gonna give yourself a better chance to get a better team in the next champion select without really risking anything, because by not dodging, you're gonna go to 0 LP. If you do dodge, you're gonna go to 0 LP anyways. And then for number 3 here, again, assume that you lose 18 LP per loss. If you're in between 19 to 21 LP, then you should not dodge. You're gonna drop to 1 to 3 LP if you lose your next game, so you give yourself 3 chances to avoid demotion. If you dodge and you go under 18 LP and you're losing 18 LP per loss, then you're only gonna give yourself 2 chances to avoid demotion. And then for number 4 here, this has to do with being higher up in LP amount. So assume that you do gain 20 LP per win. If you're above 83 LP, then you should look to dodge quite a bit. Like, this is a pretty good time for you to look to dodge, because by dodging, you do give yourself a chance at a better team without reducing the amount of games it takes to reach promos. You're gonna get your next promo on your next win regardless. So if you're at a high LP amount, then dodging in that situation is really good, because it's going to take you the same amount of games to get your promos. And then for number 5 here, assume that you do gain 20 LP per win and 18 per loss. If you're between 80 to 82 LP, then you shouldn't dodge. By dodging, you're gonna drop down to 77 to 79 LP, and you're now gonna have to win 2 games in a row to reach your promos instead of just winning 1. If you lose your next game, you are gonna drop down to 62 to 64 LP, and you're still gonna need 2 wins to reach your promos anyways. So when you are in between like 80 to 82 LP and you are gaining 20 LP per win, then there's really no point in dodging in those situations. Number 6 is to don't be afraid to dodge when you're at 0 LP. Even if you are at 0 LP, it's still good to dodge, because having negative LP is still better than demoting. I know having negative LP does look pretty bad on your profile, but it just saves you a lot of time, because if you do end up demoting, then you're gonna have to win a game to get back into your promos. You're gonna have to play the promo games, and you just have to end up playing way more games, and it just wastes a lot of time. So if there is a really unwinnable game at 0 LP, then I would dodge in that situation. And then number 7, I would definitely look to dodge this season if you are autofilled and you don't want to rank up that role. If you're not planning to rank up the role you get autofilled to, then there's just really no point in playing out that game because Splash LP is really not worth your time. 3 LP getting splashed over for the slight chance that you win that game is really not worth it, because if you are autofilled, chances are you're probably going to end up losing that game anyway, so I would just dodge in those situations. And then number 8 here, I think it's a common misconception, and that is that a lot of players think that you should never dodge your promo games. Now, I do think that most of the time you shouldn't dodge your promo games, but if you're someone who does play a lot of games throughout the season, then dodging your promo games really isn't going to matter that much. You are going to preserve your MMR, which is going to help you out in the long run. So if you are someone who does play a ton of games throughout the season, then I wouldn't really worry too much about dodging your promo games. If it is a super unwinnable game, then dodging in that situation to preserve your MMR is going to be better for the long run. So number 9 is that if you do end up waiting till the very last second to dodge, then you should make sure you re-log in right away. Make sure the dodge went through, because this happened to me many times last season. I'm not too sure if this did end up getting fixed, but I would dodge at like 2 seconds and I would expect the dodge to go through. I wouldn't end up logging back in for like a couple minutes. When I did log back in, it turns out I didn't even end up dodging, or the dodge didn't go through, and then the game is going on and I end up loading into the game late and have to play it out. So always make sure that you do log back in right away to make sure the game does end up, or to make sure the game doesn't go through, because if it does, then you don't want to be sitting AFK. So number 10 is that if you are playing in a mobile squishy champion into a heavy dive comp, then I would look to dodge in those situations. So for example, if you're playing someone like Kog'Maw AD carry or Misfortune AD carry, and the enemy team has a Wukong, a Hecarim, and a Zed, then it's going to be very, very hard for you to succeed in mid to late game team fights. So if you don't end up snowballing super hard in the early game, when it comes down to those team fights, you're probably just going to end up dying right away and you're going to have very little impact on the game. So I would dodge in those situations. So number 11 is that I would look to dodge if your team has very little hard CC and the enemy team has a ton. CC discrepancies are going to single-handedly win team fights, especially in the lower elos. So for example, if you've got a Teemo top lane, a Master Yi jungle, a Soraka support, if your team just does not have any crowd control, then it's going to be very difficult for you to win mid to late game team fights. So for number 12, if your team is full AP or full AD, it is usually good to dodge in those situations, but I wouldn't dodge every single time. If the enemy team comp does not have any tanks or any champions that are going to really be able to stack a ton of resist, then it's not 100% necessary to dodge in those situations. If they do have like multiple tanks though, or multiple champions that are going to be able to stack magic resist, then I would dodge in that situation. So number 13 is that I would look to dodge if you're in a matchup that you personally can just never seem to win. If you don't end up winning your lane, then the chances of you winning the game are going to drop quite a bit. So I would definitely look to dodge in these situations. Definitely ban out the champion that you do struggle against, but if there's another champion you struggle against that ends up going through and you get up against them, then I would look to dodge in those situations. So number 14, if your teammates do not have a winning mindset in champion select, then definitely look to dodge. So if your teammates are like stealing roles from each other, if your teammates are arguing in pre-game chat, if they're tilted, if they're like talking about how their last game was super tilting, if your teammate's playing a troll champion, if he's playing something like Teemo jungle, then I would definitely look to dodge. If your teammate's not taking the correct summoner spells, so if your jungle forgets smite, if your mid lane is playing Nunu with ghost cleanse, then I would definitely look to dodge in those kinds of situations. And then number 15, every single time you do arrive in champion select, I would look to copy paste your team into OPGG multi and just take a look at your teammates, analyze your teammates, and I would look to dodge in a bunch of different situations. So if you do have 2 teammates that are off role, I would look to dodge. If your teammate is first timing a champion, then I would look to dodge. Now, this one in the lower elos is going to be a little little bit harder to use because there are going to be a ton more situations where your teammates are first timing a champion. In the higher elos, I would definitely look to use this one, but it is going to be a little bit harder to use in the lower elos. Now, if two or more of your teammates are on loss streaks, it's pretty good to dodge there because chances are they are going to be tilted and they're not going to be playing their best in the next game. And then if two or more of your teammates are playing high sample size, low personal win rate champions, then I would look to dodge there. So if they have a lot of games on a champion that they're playing and their win rate is very low, then chances are you're going to lose that game. Like, you just don't have a very good percent chance to win. Also, not even like if if only one of your teammates has a really bad win rate and they're playing a champion, say like a Zir or Riven or Yasuo, just one of these champions that is more mechanically skilled, then I would be dodging then. And this game here that I am playing on my Smurf in the background is a prime example of a good game that you should look to dodge. Now, if we take a look, I think that two of my teammates here were first timing a champion. My mid laner was first timing Xerath. He's a top lane player. As you can see here, he's got no games on Xerath this season. My top lane, or my jungler, was playing Trundle, and he hasn't played a game since season 7. As you can see there, he doesn't have any season 8 or season 9 stats. So, and he also has a 43% win rate on Trundle. So those are really big red flags there from that player. And then also our Blitzcrank was first timing Blitzcrank. So if I wasn't playing on my Smurf here, I would have dodged this game. But what actually ended up happening, like, I was confident we could still win this game, but we actually ended up losing the game because our mid lane fed, our jungle fed, and that just goes to show you that if you can just take this information here from the loading screen and use it to your advantage and dodge these kind of games, then you are going to save yourself a lot of LP and a lot of MMR throughout the season. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. That was the guide on dodging for season 9. So hopefully this does help you out, and hopefully in your future games you are going to have a better idea of when and how you should be looking to dodge. So with that being said, guys, if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you have yet to already. So thanks for watching, have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.